There's a man in jail, and the justice system says he shouldn't be. There's a man in jail, and the political system keeps him there. The facts of the case are these. In 1985, 24 years ago, James David Watson murdered a 14-year-old schoolgirl, guilty, and the sentence, life imprisonment. Between then and now, truth in sentencing legislation, as it's called, meant a review of the case. On the evidence, it seemed that Watson had been rehabilitated. It seemed, on the evidence to the parole board, that there wasn't much more point in keeping him in jail. He'd done the crime, wasn't likely to do it or anything like it again, and he'd done at least some of the time, which seemed to the parole board to have taught him a lesson he'd never forget. The parole board is perfectly set up to make this decision, set up by Act of Parliament, with input from victims of crime, prisoner support groups, and very importantly, senior law people and criminologists. The chair, Francis Nelson, is as fair and impartial as they come. We might not always agree with or understand the decisions, but we don't always see all the evidence that it does. The parole board found that Watson should be released. It also found that a second man, David Andrew Matthew Miller, convicted of murder in 1990 and also serving a life sentence, should also be freed on parole. Yesterday, Tom Koutsantonis, the Correctional Services Minister, told Parliament he'd overturned the parole board. Both men will be kept in jail. The government isn't doing this to make a safer community, or because it's just. It's doing it to be seen as tough on law and order, and the opposition isn't going to say boo to a goose. Neither party can afford to be seen as weak on law and order. Both parties know that whipping up a lather of fear is a good way to win votes, and there's an election coming. Men in jail because of an election. You can vote in March for law and order or for justice.